This is Riza with Full Awakening, and I'm here to bring you your daily 11:11 meditation. I'm almost on time today, so hopefully you guys are seeing this. I know that I have been all over the place the last couple days because we've been setting up this new office in our basement, my own little office cabin. I'm going to give you guys a little mini tour. It's not quite done, but it is looking pretty sweet. That's going to be my main altar over there where there's that photograph and that altar piece. We have a little mini altar in here. I'm going to be relocating the home altar down to the basement. So big changes. I had this realization today that the whole house and all of our physical things are like a giant altar. And when the energy in the house changes, the things have to move. And when the things move, the energy completes its change that it wants to do. So everything in our home is moving around a little bit and reconfiguring, and it makes me feel so good. So I recommend you guys do this as well, or open yourself up to the possibility. I'm sure many of you are doing it already, but at this time when so much new energy is coming into the planet and it's stirring things up inside of us, or you're going through this process of meditating with me every day and things are getting moved around, your physical space is going to need to reflect those changes, and it will also help those changes to really root in. So I invite you to that process. So today's meditation and teaching is called Seeing Others Clearly. So this is a follow-up from yesterday where we learned to see ourselves clearly, and we did this self-referential practice of, for a moment, pausing that connection that we have with our whole web of connectivity and just mirroring our own experience in the moment. And what the trail guide says about this is just to remember that what you see in this mirror is for you in this moment. You're never going to see the whole truth of yourself, most likely. You're going to see the part that you need to see right now. And to just use that to grow and to move through what you're moving through. And then next time you look, you're going to see something different, and that's okay. The whole purpose of this activity of seeing ourselves clearly is, again, to accept ourselves, to know ourselves, to love ourselves, and then to move on. So now we can see through the mirror, and we're starting to see on to the other side. And on the other side, there's another human being, a whole nother human being with their entire life, their entire history, their entire prehistory, their connections, their own web of connectivity. And it can be really mind-blowing to really go there and notice that there is another person that you are looking at that is having their whole own experience. So today is a lesson that's really about healthy and empathic energy. So when we talk about the empath, often we talk about the narcissist and this dynamic. And I like to remind people that these parts of us, all of us have both, right? All of us have empathic qualities that are natural to us, and all of us have narcissistic qualities that are natural to us. And there's nothing inherently wrong unless they're out of balance or unconscious and being operated by that shadow material. We talked about in the very first session of Rise and Shine, this shadow material that sort of unconsciously drives our actions and our emotions and our reactions. And so if that is what is driving your narcissistic sort of self-reflective, caring qualities, or your empathic, your ability to feel what others are feeling, if that shadow material, your wounding and your vulnerability and your history is what's driving that force, then it's going to be a little bit out of balance. So we want to really look at that. So today we want to talk about how to be empathic in a really healthy way. And I love to look at NVC for this. So NVC is nonviolent communication, and started by Marshall Rosenberg. And basically, the entire basis of NVC says every feeling that you have arises out of a need of yours that is being met or unmet. Okay, so this is kind of revolutionary if you really think of it. We all have universal needs and individual needs. And when those needs come up, either the world around us or ourselves are able to meet those needs. When those needs get met, we have good feelings, right? We have feelings that are enjoyable to feel. We feel joy, we feel gratitude, we feel happiness, we feel love, we feel excitement, we feel all those things, right? Because some need we have is being met. When we have a need that pops up that our environment or ourselves are unable to meet, then we have harder feelings. We have feelings of anger, or loss, or grief, or frustration, and those feelings are less pleasurable, right? But if we're able to know that the root of those feelings is actually our needs, then we're able to understand ourselves and others in a deeper way. So let's look at how we look at other people. So when you're looking at another person and you're really trying to understand them, you want to face them completely with your body, right? You want shoulders and hips facing the other person. You want to set your own story to the side for the moment. Okay, so you have your whole own story about what's happening and how you're feeling and what you're needing. Hopefully you're aware of what you're needing. That's a big part of it. But you have to set that to the side so that you can truly see the other person. And instead of listening so much to the words that they're saying, I want you to listen to the way that they're feeling in their body as they're saying it. I want you to listen to all of those nonverbal ways of communicating, right? So you're really, in the second session of this, we talked about the discernment zone and how we're each in our own little circles. And then as we brush up against each other, these circles meet and then they overlap slightly. And there's this Vesica Pisces. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but there's this area of overlap, right? So that might be kind of uncomfortable to think about, that we overlap each other. Ooh, I'm noticing a little glitchiness. So I forgot to hook in my Ethernet cord. Let's do that now. Hopefully the glitchiness will go away. So when you're in this overlap area, this naturally occurs. If you do this consciously, you can really feel that your energy is merging with the other person's energy. And this is kind of an incredible thing, because then if you set your story to the side, you can really start to feel empathically, not only how they physically feel in their body, but how they emotionally, energetically feel in their body. And then you can start to sort of search like a detective for what their needs might be, what they're really needing and communicating to you. And if you can do that, you can start to reflect that back to them, and ooh boy, then you get some real deal connection. And that's a very special thing to experience. So what we can call this in a simple term is a compassionate witness. And when we went through the first series of 7 sessions, we talked about the Divine Mother and those kind of energies of unconditional love. And that's all compassionate witness stuff, right? So that's bringing us into the ability to just neutrally, lovingly notice what is present. And that is a very important part for you to develop for yourself, because if you can do it for yourself, then you can hold that kind of space for others. And really, that is a precious, precious thing, our ability to truly listen and hear and feel others. There's this beautiful, I'm trying to remember where this came from. I think Brene Brown talked about this, but also Glennon Doyle talks about this. Being in the basement means you can hear my children hopping on the ceiling. Hopefully you guys, it's not too distracting. So this idea that we are taught to, in relationship, to react in different ways to needs and vulnerabilities. So if a woman comes to a man, this is very heteronormative, and please forgive me because these things happen beyond gender, right? But let's talk about in the heteronormative gendered society. A female partner comes to a male partner and says, I'm feeling really vulnerable. And the habit would be from our training is the male partner would go, okay, I'm going to fix it, right? Let's fix this. Of course, we do this beyond gender, right? So I'm feeling really vulnerable. Okay, let's fix it. That's not what I'm asking for. I just want you to see that I'm feeling really vulnerable and be able to witness me. And that's the part that doesn't happen, right? Because the discomfort of seeing someone else's vulnerability goes into immediate fix-it mode. Now, Brene Brown says the inverse happens too. A male partner comes to the female partner and says, I'm feeling really vulnerable and scared. And the female partner goes into rage, rage or fear mode and anxiety, because we're taught that men are supposed to have all the answers and are supposed to be invulnerable and are supposed to ride on their steed and save the day, right? So usually females are not trained on how to just see their male partner and say, wow, you're feeling really vulnerable. That's okay. I'm okay to see you being vulnerable. So the man goes, oh, it's okay for me to be vulnerable because I'm not letting you down, right? So again, these are not necessarily tied to gender. These infuse into all of us, and we all have male and female aspects to us. And so please apply this to your life in the way that it applies to you. Do you go into fear mode? Fear mode can sometimes look like rage, can sometimes look like grief. There's a lot of emotions that happen on the surface of the ocean when underneath what's really happening is fear. When I get really fearful, my children, right? My children do something that I'm like, oh my God, something horrible is going to happen. And I get afraid. Sometimes it sounds like anger and I'll yell at them, don't do that, right? And then I realize that really underneath that anger is fear. So fear is at the base of a lot of those more aggressive energies. So I just want you to become aware of whether you're a fixer or an anger rager. How do you react to the vulnerability of others? And it takes a lot of self-work to hold that compassionate witness space for yourself, so that when other people are vulnerable or having a physical, emotional experience, that you don't react out of fear, that you react out of compassion and understanding, right? That's self-work. That's an image of self-work. So there's one more thing I'm going to give you guys, which is a beautiful mantra, which is you can be unconditional loving to someone else without being inside their condition. You can be unconditionally loving without being inside someone else's condition. So allow that to give you this faith and this ability to come together and to really witness and receive the other person's story and experience, and know that you can feel it for a moment and then you can also release it. This is a huge fear for energy workers and people who do, healing work, and people who are just naturally empathic. Either that's been a highly developed skill of theirs, or more likely it was a skill developed in childhood out of trauma. When you're highly empathic and you don't have a lot of control over the boundaries of that empathy, it can feel really overwhelming to feel other people's feelings and their pain. And so I know I said I was going to give you one last thing. I'm going to give you another last thing. So the other thing in this trail guide that's really important is to consciously uncouple. And that's just like in any physical, energetic interaction that you have with another person. You'll notice if your energies have merged and it's got kind of stucky, right? Way after the conversation, you're still thinking about that person. You're still looping into their story. You're still feeling their feels, and you're getting really drained. You are still energetically merged, even if you're not physically together, right? So a really great thing to do after any healing session, any intense conversation, any time when you've consciously come together and merged, please know that it is your responsibility to consciously unmerge. And the way that we do this is this. We say, all of your light I send back to you. And you can physically visualize it going into their body. All of my light I bring back to me. And you visually bring it into your body. Everything that is not of the light, I discern and disperse for the greatest good of all. So there comes your discernment vessel, your discernment image. Sometimes it's a tree for me. Sometimes it's a bowl of fire in between us. I discern and disperse all other energies for the greatest good of all. I see you surrounded by your council of light. I'm surrounded by my council of light. And all cords are severed except for the cord between our hearts, which is ever strong. And then you just let them go. That's it. And it's a beautiful way to end a relationship, a conversation, anything where you feel like you're really energetically entwined with someone and it's not healthy. Okay, so that's the lesson for today. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. And we're gonna do a little moment of meditation, okay? So get in a comfortable seat. Close those eyes. Take a deep breath in. And feel the completeness of your body. So yesterday we envisioned that beautiful egg of light around us. Once again, envision that space, your own cell membrane. You have this strong and flexible, I like to think sometimes gelatinous membrane around your body that is your sovereign area, your space that is just yours. And imagine that you're bringing in someone that you love, someone you care about. It could be a parent, a child, a partner, a really good friend. And I want you to envision them standing in front of you in their own big bubble of light. Their bubble of light might be a different size, a different texture, different color. Just affirm for them in your mind that their bubble of light is complete. It's unscathed. If there's any cracks or tears, you can just fill those in with your awareness so that they're whole, they're feeling safe. And in your vision, I want you to begin to walk towards them. And if you're noticing that their bubble isn't a very vibrant color or doesn't seem entirely well, you can encourage them to brighten their bubble to a vibrant, healthy color. So you're walking towards them, and they're walking towards you, and you're noticing that as you walk towards each other, perhaps reaching out your hands to hold each other's hands, that your bubbles start to intersect and create this three-dimensional vesica Pisces, this area of overlap, where your two bubbles merge about halfway. So now you're standing really close to each other. And remember, in lesson 2, you can put a discernment vessel between you if you want, a little bit of fire, a little tree of life, something that circulates the energy between you. But really, I want you to be able to notice your own reflection and kind of set that to the side. You're going to set your story to the side for a moment. And I want you just to open up your body receptors. So especially in your torso. Imagine that you're opening up your heart, maybe opening up your whole belly area, and you're reading them. You're really noticing them. Notice the energy that they're carrying. Notice their posture. When you notice their posture and their energy, how does that make you feel? How do you think they're feeling right now? If you were to mirror their feeling in your own body, what emotion would that create for you? And what do you think they might be needing based on their feelings? Let the first thing that pops in be valid. Just ask them in their mind if there's anything else that they're needing that they'd like you to know. We're going to hold this for one more moment. And then relax. And now we're going to allow ourselves to part consciously. So thank them for showing up and being willing to merge in this way. And allow them to take a couple steps back. And you take a couple steps back and notice when your bubbles are now separate. And you can leave that discernment energy in between your two bubbles, but allow your bubbles to unmerge and say to them, all of your light I send back to you. And really watch any sparks of light that you've absorbed of theirs, watch it go back into their body, up through the crown of their head, all the way down to their feet, their hands. And you bring all of my light back to me. Bring all of my light back to me. And you notice the same thing. All of your sparks of light that have loosened and gone into them, perhaps, going back in through the top of your head, all the way down to your feet and your hands. And you say, everything else that was exchanged, may it be discerned and dispersed for the greatest good of all. And you send that into the center and allow it to be circulated and dispersed by that tree of light and the fire, whatever you're envisioning as your discernment vessel. I affirm that we're both in our circles of light, in our own spaces, and I sever all cords of connection besides the cord between our hearts. May that be ever strong. And thank you. So allow that vision to soften and release. And we're going to bring our hands together and let's bring some of that discernment energy. So whatever energy you used for your discernment vessel, whether that was blue fire or tree of life or tree of light, as I said, which I kind of enjoyed, whatever that was, just bring it into your hands and make a little orb out of it. Take a deep breath in and grow that orb. And the blessing that we're going to send to the earth, we're going to put our little earth inside there, inside our ball. So put our beautiful little planet inside the ball. And we're going to send this blessing to the earth that may all people be able to see each other more clearly and have better discernment on how to part ways. And go ahead and press that in. May all people be able to see each other more clearly and have more discernment as they part ways. Press that into our earth. Ooh, that's a thick one. We got it, guys. And scoop that into your heart. Breathe that earth in, that earth that has good discernment and compassionate witnessing for all. What a beautiful world that would be, right? This can really change the earth, you guys. I know it changes my individual life. Hopefully it will change yours, and that just ripples out goodness into the world. So never underestimate the incredible value of working on yourself, self-reflecting, and caring for your own needs. It's so important and so meaningful to the earth and all of humanity. So thank you for joining me here today. Make sure to share this video or these videos that we're doing with anyone who you think might enjoy them and might benefit from them at this time. I'm so happy to be giving away this material for free, and people continue to donate to our fund, which will keep open until May 6th. And if you do that, you can receive our meditation archive or our trail guide to awakening, either one that you enjoy. This information each day that I bring to you is from the trail guide. So this is sort of our Cliff Notes version, and I am uploading these videos onto the trail guide. So not only do you have a written lesson, an audio reading of that written lesson, a MP3 download meditation, but also these little videos. So it's quite a thick, chunky resource online, and you can have it for as long as we exist as a company, which hopefully will be a very long time. So thank you so much, you guys, and many blessings on your day. See you soon. Bye.